In a quarter of a mile, right turn onto Southwestern Avenue. Next right.
Yo, yo, yo. Good morning, Freedom Marchers. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world.
Proceed about 8
This is Terrence Bain,
to West Slams,
aka Snapzilla Gorilla. Welcome to the Definition of Anarchy. Where today, ooh-wee, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it early in the morning on what is it? October 26th, 2021.
Left turn
on a Tuesday.
West Salmon Avenue.
I never thought I'd see the day where someone who calls himself a guns right or gun right advocate would excuse someone for poor gun safety habits, right? Now, as we all know, and I talked about it before, Alec Baldwin killed his cinematographer on the set of his movie Rust, right? Now, the circumstances behind it, when you think about it, it's kind of irrelevant, but not at the same time, it's not. You hear in different stories. I hear one story. I hear he was practicing his cross draw. Another story I'm hearing is he was goofing off with the cinematographer, and they were talking shit, and he was like, they asked him to do another take, and he was like, another take, how about I shoot ball? Who knows what the real story is, right? Who knows what the real story is? You're gonna have different people saying different shit. And the fact of the matter is, this is one thing I'll agree with the Clown Shoe Lucas on. We have to wait for all of the information to come to light, just to know the finer details, right? Like, why was he pointing the weapon? Why was he, pulling the trigger? Why did all these things happen? These are the questions that need to be answered. But at the end of the day, Alec Baldwin had the firearm in his motherfucking hand. Now, let's get into the reasons the Clown Shoe Lucas says that Alec Baldwin should not be blamed for this tragedy. Okay, now this may be a psyop. It might not be. I don't care about none of that. This is all really a learning lesson. And him coming out and saying what he said about it is it's just perfect. It landed right in my lap, right? Like I always say, he's always full of rich content to expose, right? So, there's people out there that's going to say, it was fake, it's a psyop, all this, that, and the third. But never mind all that. We don't know that for a fact, unless there's solid proof. The fact of the matter is this. The Clown Shoe Lucas says that Alec Baldwin is not at fault. Guess why? Because he is an elite Hollywood actor on a movie set.
In half of a mile,
I'll repeat that.
Right turn.
Alec Baldwin is not at fault.
South.
Because he is an elite movie actor on a movie set. And he has people to do everything for him, all right? Including checking the gun for him, wiping his ass, blowing his nose for him, holding his dick while he pisses, feeding him with a spoon when he's hungry. Apparently, actors can't do shit for themselves on movie sets. Now, I have been on a production set multiple times. My mother was involved in photography and all this other shit in Hollywood, and I've been on sets, and I've never seen a grown man have his mouth wiped by a mouth wiper. You know what I'm saying? So basically,
Next sharp
the Clown
right,
Shoe Lucas's
onto
position is because
I-110 south.
there's an armorer that's supposed to check the weapons. Alec Baldwin is not supposed to check the weapon as well. You heard me. Because, and also, we don't know shit, right? We don't know shit about movie sets. We don't know shit about Hollywood productions. Apparently he does, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he did the animation for some low budget movie. I have no idea. Apparently he thinks he has sources and shit on the set and all this other that, and he believes, which he says is unconfirmed, that Alec Baldwin was set up because there was about to be a strike and all this other shit. Listen. If somebody set Alec Baldwin up, Alec Baldwin himself was a co-conspirator, an unwitting co-conspirator in the setup. So, and let us get this straight, the Clown Shoe Lucas. You know that most of the people that are placing blame on Alec Baldwin are likely not aware or familiar with what goes on movie sets. So you come up with this culture within Hollywood where none of the rules apply. None of the common sense safety rules apply. Everything flies out the window because Hollywood actors on movie sets have every single thing done for them, including checking the weapon, right? Now, you want to call it a prop gun. Hollywood wants to call it a prop gun. Mainstream media wants to call it a prop gun. Well, I'll explain this to you. A prop gun does not fire live ammunition. Period. A prop gun, even when it has blanks in it, does not fire live ammunition. I mean, yeah, a prop gun does not shoot blanks. Calling it a prop gun does not relieve Alec Baldwin of any responsibility or anybody else. And yes, if someone was using that weapon on a range prior to the day of the shoot, that's wrong. The armorer should have checked, because when you hand somebody a weapon, you make sure you check to see if it's clear, right? That's your responsibility. You are participating in the safety of that firearm use. You make sure, so that the armor should have made sure the gun was clear. Apparently there was some mixed rounds, mixed with ammunition, live ammunition mixed with dummy ammunition. There was one live bullet in that magazine. Okay. Not only that, let's talk about the safety concerns that people had prior to the shooting. Apparently somebody, the stunt double for Alec Baldwin, had 2 accidental discharges. So there was already safety issues on that movie set. So anyway, okay, so the armor should have made sure that all the rounds were blank, right? And guess what? So should Alec Baldwin. Right? Or Alec Baldwin is standing there watching him check to see that all those rounds were dummy or blank. Now my question is this: if you do a quick check, right? If you do a press check, right? Meaning you pull the slide back ever so slightly, just enough to see if there's a round in there, but not too much to where you eject the round, right? If it's already chambered, But if the round isn't chambered, you're not going to eject the round. You're just going to have the round go in. And in that case, you still don't want to pull the slide back all the way. You just want to do a press check to make sure that there's just not a live round in there. That simple thing he could have done. If he was too lazy to open the slide all the way, lock it in, release the magazine, check the rounds in the magazine, because according to one story, they only heard one shot. So apparently the live round was on top of the blanks. And if that's the case, that's kind of strange, because if you use it on the range the day before or a few days prior, then let's say you shot all the rounds but one. All the rounds but one. And then you go to load the magazine with blanks. Well, then the live round will be on the bottom. So if he's practicing his cross draw and he accidentally pulls the trigger, then the blank would go off, not the live round, right? So it does sound kind of suspicious, right? It sounds like it could be a setup if that story is true. If all the rounds in there were dummy except for one, that live round obviously had to be on top, because there was one shot that the director said he heard like a whipping sound. So obviously he didn't pull the trigger until the first time, right? That was the only time he pulled the trigger, and that's when that live round went off. So if there was one live round on top of dummy rounds, that doesn't make any sense. So might be something suspicious going on there. But I'm going to take a wild guess here. See, the Amazing Lucas wants you to think that Hollywood actors, they don't look at or touch guns until they get on the movie set. Like, they don't see guns, they don't own guns, they don't mess with guns, they don't go to the range, they don't know anything about gun safety. They don't teach you gun safety on movie sets, apparently. There's no safety protocol for the Hollywood elite when it comes to guns. You just go in there, pick up a gun, and just start pointing and shooting that shit while you're filming. That's all you do. There's no safety meeting. There's no safety class. There's no armorer telling you how to clear your weapon, how to make sure it's not loaded. No, none of that's going on. No, that's not happening at all. Because in Hollywood, when you step into Hollywood on a Hollywood movie set, you're going through a wormhole into a universe where that's not necessary. But somehow Thanos, or what's his name? Ultravision. Somehow Ultravision busted through the fucking the universe and planted a live round in Hollywood. Like, get the fuck out of here. He wants you to believe, the clown shoe Lucas, that there is no safety protocol for firearm usage. And if there is one, the actors, they don't have to know it, because motherfuckers do everything for them, right? When they do fight scenes, and they throw a punch, and you see the actor throwing the punch, and it's obviously not a stunt double. What had happened was, that's CGI, because all the actor does is have their face scanned. That's all they do. There's no need for an actor to do anything anymore in Hollywood, and that's it. But we're idiots, right? We're retarded. This is what he says. If you believe Alec Baldwin was at fault, you're retarded. That's what he said. See, this just shows you how full of shit, fake, in Hollywood the clown shoe Lucas is. And I have a pretty good idea, pretty good feeling that he lives in North Hollywood, or somewhere close to Hollywood, or in Hollywood. He thinks he's the authority, you see? And that's the problem, right? And y'all make sure y'all hit that like button up in here, please. Hit the like button, help your boy out, get the algorithm cracking. I should not have to get up here and explain that it doesn't matter where you're at. When you handle a weapon, a real gun, they can call it a prop gun all they want, but it's a real gun. I can turn my a 9mm. I don't have one because I lost all my shit in a boating accident. I can turn a 9mm into a simunition gun. It's still a real gun. I'm just changing the barrel out in the magazine for simunition rounds. But it's still a real gun. Yeah, you have to go through more changes to convert it back to a live gun. You know, you got to change the barrel back out. You got to change the magazine back out. But with rounds in a Hollywood set, with a gun in a Hollywood set, all you doing, what makes it a prop gun or not, is whether or not it has fucking blanks in it. So calling it a prop gun, that's just a cop-out. The Clown Shoe Luke is telling people, yo, y'all don't know nothing about Hollywood. You don't know shit about Hollywood like that's some type of fucking, like, oh, I know something about Hollywood like that's some fucking shining achievement. So what? I don't give a fuck what your little source tells you. They obviously don't want Alec Baldwin to be hung. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to be responsible for accidental discharge, if you don't want to be responsible for anything, I want to make sure that you're doing your safety checks, right? And let's say the Clown Shoe Lucas isn't full of shit, and that's how it really works in Hollywood, where you're not responsible for checking the prop gun once you have it as a Hollywood actor. Well, then that should change, right? That should change. That should change. It should, especially after what happened to Brandon Lee and Bruce Lee or whatever. That should have changed. If there are accidental discharges on the set by stunt doubles and actors, well, wouldn't it be prudent to say, you know what, from now on, everybody who handles this weapon is responsible for checking the weapon to make sure it's clear, make sure there's no live ammunition in it, whatever you want to say. Because everybody has to be responsible for that weapon once they put their hands on that weapon. You have to be responsible for it. Hollywood actor or not. That's just common sense. That's like when the McMasters, or not the McMasters, but that couple in Missouri that that had the group of people prop up on a gated community and were walking by their house. I forgot what their name was. You know, old girl was pointing the weapon at her husband's head and all this other shit, pointing at the crowd. I don't give a fuck if the firing pin was missing. I don't care. You always treat it as if it's loaded. It's the same thing with them. People on the right tried to absolve them of just poor gun safety. They didn't want to accept it. The bottom line is once you put your hands on that weapon, you better learn the safe use of it. Even if you're on the street, you're a gang member or whatever you want to be, a criminal, it's a good idea to do it. You don't want to shoot your partners on accident or shoot yourself. You don't want to do that, so you make sure you're safe with that weapon. It's as simple as that. But this guy,
next exit on
the Clown Shoe Lucas, trying to make gun advocates look stupid. Gun safety advocates look stupid for trying to place some responsibility on Alec Baldwin, trying to make us seem like we're retarded. I mean,
Keep right.
where they do that at? Apparently in Hollywood, right? Apparently in Hollywood.
Proceed about 1 mile.
And we
to
know.
the traffic circle.
I have proven
Keep right.
time and time again
Left turn.
that the clown shoe Lucas is a liar, right? He lied about when he would be able to take the snap. He lied about the transmission rate. He lied about
Next exit on the right.
the Modelo
Keep
19
right.
snap stopping transmission. He lied about a lot of shit. Once he's been proven a liar so many times about so many crucial things, why should we believe him about this? Why should we believe that in Hollywood, on Hollywood sets, everybody's responsible for gun safety except for the actor? Because, well, they're too good to check the weapon.
Keep
I
right.
mean,
And then
I can't be bothered to pull a slide back. Like, what the fuck are we talking about now? And
in 1/10
You know,
mile, left
shout out to him for
onto
having the
South
moxie
East Avenue.
to come out and be so arrogant about his stupidity. Shout out to him for coming out and being so arrogantly stupid about gun safety. Everybody in the world who picks up a gun has to be safe, except for Hollywood actors on a Hollywood set, because that's how it's done on a Hollywood. We don't know shit. We need to stay in our lane. Well, if your lane has firearms in it, then guess what, motherfucker? That's my lane. That's my lane. And if you're right about the Hollywood culture,
Proceed about 2 miles to
that shit should change.
Pacific Coast
Everybody who picks up that weapon should be responsible for the safe use of that weapon. Listen, the physics of the weapon don't change because an actor picks it up. Yeah, somebody tell me. Do the physics of that firearm change when a Hollywood actor picks it up? Obviously not, because Alec Baldwin motherfucking shot somebody with it. So that should tell us, as Hollywood producers, directors, safety people, armorers, well, thanks to Alec Baldwin, we have discovered that the physics of the firearm doesn't change when he picks it up. When actors pick up the weapon, the physics don't change. So we should start telling the actors to be safe with the weapons. Yeah, let's do that now. What world did this guy grow up in? To come out and lambast pro-gun safety people. Because he wants to cape for the left. And then try to sit up here and tell you in his hypocritical ass video about Dave Chappelle how the left and the right are both full of shit. Well, obviously, you believe the right is a little bit more full of shit than the left. Because you were spurned. You can't take people like that seriously. And I wish he'd stop giving me all this great things to break down, because I'm obvious, I know y'all getting tired of me talking about the clown shoe Lucas, but he's rich with hypocrisy and bullshittery. He's so rich with that type of thing that it's easy to use him as an example of the stupidity in this world. And it's not just the stupidity. It's the stupidity with a level of arrogance
at your destination. The route
that
guidance is now finished.
makes him appear to be the smartest man in the room. He believes, listen, it's probably narcissism of his. I think he believes he's actually the smartest person he ever encounters. He thinks that every encounter he has with any human being, I feel like he thinks he's smarter than every motherfucker he comes across. And this, my friends, is what you're dealing with. When you're dealing with people who, listen, the amazing Lucas represents so many people in this country, right? He represents so many people in this country that just want to eat the steak. They want to eat the steak. They're getting tired of the slop. They're getting tired of being underground. They're getting tired of just living in Zion, right? They're getting tired of floating around this little ship underground, this little hovercraft. And he just wants to eat the steak. Like your boy from the Matrix. Right? He just wants to eat the steak. He wants to meet with Agent Smith and say, you know what, man, I'm tired of this shit, man. You know what? I'll turn coat like a big dog. I just want to eat some steak. I want to drink some wine. I'm getting tired of this motherfucking oatmeal, protein bullshit. This roach milk. I'm getting tired of it. I just want to sit back, eat this steak, and watch everything burn. Burn Zion to the ground. Fuck it. As long as I eat my steak. That is the Clown Shoe Lucas in a nutshell, y'all. He wants to eat his steak. He wants to drink his champagne. He wants his C9000 because he don't like real women. He don't like real women. No. He either likes bussy or he's asexual until he gets his C9000. He doesn't like women at all. Listen. And I think that's why April Harmony is no longer in his chat. But that's another story. Listen. The Clown Shoe Lucas was unplugged from the Matrix. Okay? He was unplugged. And he would hop back in every now and then for some missions. Right? But he just wants his steak now. So he's done with us. He's a lost cause. But so rich. He is so it's great. Like the content he provides, just based from just look. This guy gives Alec Baldwin a pass for practicing poor gun safety. Because Hollywood. And if that's the kind of culture Hollywood exists in, then that's a problem. I could see if he said, well, based on what happened with Alec Baldwin, these guys are supposed to check the weapon for him. He's not supposed to have to do that. Maybe it should change. Maybe everybody should start checking the weapon once they're handed it or whatever. Maybe everybody should be checking for ammunition. I know it doesn't seem like your job, Alec Baldwin, to take every round out of the magazine to make sure they're all blanks. But for your own mental well-being, because imagine if Alec Baldwin isn't a sociopath, right? Imagine the level of mental damage happened to him, knowing that he's responsible for killing that woman. Because he didn't make sure she was safe. Now, forget all that. We talked about him actually having a gun. Let's talk about him being a producer and making sure that set was a safe environment for the crew and the actors. Because there were safety concerns before this happened that weren't addressed. And this just snowballed and culminated in the death of a woman. Since he's a producer, he also shares that side of the responsibility. But the clown Lucas didn't even want to address that. He just wanted to call us retarded, talk about just the gun being in his hand and not him not being responsible for gun safety because he's a Hollywood actor elite. Well, what about every other aspect? No, he picks and chooses. He cherry picks to make his argument sound good. That's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with people like the clown Lucas. And there are a lot of people like that, right? There are tons of people like that out in this world. But it just, I guess the amazing Lucas he is supreme level hypocrite. His hypocrisy is supreme level. His inconsistency is glaring and obvious because of how bold he is when he makes his statements. With his stances, he's so bold with his stances, it's glaring and obvious when they're inconsistent and contradictory. His cognitive dissonance is godlike. This dude has godlike cognitive dissonance, and it's just amazing to me. So it's fascinating to watch. Let me see what y'all talking about real quick before I get out of here. Shannon Lorette was good. Jimmy Nguyen, Marcy T, how y'all doing? Thank y'all for hitting the like button. I'll read the last few comments. Griffin Gaming. Okay, I think I saw. Did he do more videos on the clown Lucas? Shannon Lorette said, I just feel like he can't believe the words coming from him, from out of his mouth. No, I can't believe that he believes that too. I tell my kids not even to point at toy guns. Yeah, you get your kids accustomed to not just pointing guns at any and everything. That's a good idea. The Abakai says, maybe the Amazing Lucas is a blessing in disguise. This is his way to get the people to band together and talk about these things. That's very optimistic of you, Abakai. Jimmy Nguyen says, for crying out loud, airsoft gun and at 100 can kill people at close range and pointing a gun. Yeah, I mean, it's common sense. Don't point the barrel of a weapon at somebody. And don't just go waving the barrel everywhere. Cross draw. If you're going to practice your cross draw, do it somewhere off to the side, isolated from everybody else. And that's it. It's simple. Shannon Lorette says, maybe I wonder about him if it's just an act, but the way he acting isn't good for public consumption if he's supposedly undercover he ain't trying to help shit. They'll probably be pushing gun control over Asmon. You know they will, Christopher Alexander. Anyway, I got to get out of here, guys. Got to get ready for work. Much love, like, share, subscribe, and let's keep marching forward toward people. Let's march forward toward free people, but let's keep marching forward toward freedom, people. Peace.